So this cheapo 323i Sport sedan has not been touched since last time you guys saw me drive it. I would like to bring it down to my main garage tonight and get going on some of the repairs. However, I think the headlights are toast. So, cold start, and gotta love E46s. Oh, wow. Look at that. So I have one working taillight, so that's interesting. And let's check the front. Nothing. So I do have D2S bulb adapters, which I think I just left inside. Whoops. So we've got some sort of issue. I actually just plugged them back in. I don't know if that's an LCM or what. So the lights work, but not well. Random flickering is kind of strange. I did find a set of aftermarket LED taillights in the garage, so I could install those real quick to aid in some of these issues. So I got them to stay on. The solution was fix the bad taillight ground. So I have a bad hood latch too. Have to be a little bit careful. But yeah, the HIDs are working fine. The entire pin for the right taillight was like melted off on the housing, so I just ran a little bit of new wire. I'm hopeful that it'll be good for the drive down to where I need to go. And just like that, we took care of forward and rear rocket boosters with a single ground wire on the taillight. So this transmission basically has no first gear synchro at all. The second gear is pretty bad. So it's a 3-4-5 reverse trans. It's pretty bad. Well, the car made it. But I have something else to work on first. And the obstacle in before Kurt is a 90-something, 8 probably, E36 M3 sedan. And it's here for a couple of pretty minor things. One being this right here. The rear shock absorber is no longer connected to the car at the bottom at all. And the second one being this garbage ass new iPhone won't turn on the light for some reason. There we go. The Guibo is completely horked. It's pretty bad, so I have to do that too. So I have all the bolts out. I'm not sure if you can split these enough to get the flex discs out. I kind of don't think so, but I'm gonna give it a go anyway before I pull the exhaust off. And hey presto, new Guibo. Time to give this thing a once over and put that brace back on it. But other than that, I think she is guten Tag to go. Hey, it's Kurt. It's Kurt. So we did the coilovers. The right rear lower shock mount deal was completely broken in half. I put the half that was closest to still intact back in the car, but it's totally toast. So I have a pair of new ones now, which I ordered after the fact, and that's the plan. Install them so the car is a little bit less sketchy. Here's the Guibo from the M3. It has seen better days. And that's what's left of the rear right lower shock mount on Kurt. And one of the bolts was missing, so now it's a 17. Nice. So there goes Kurt. Time for the cheapo E46. Gotta love private property. Oh, black ice, nice. I don't think the handbrake does anything in this car. Ooh, let me clean that lens real quick. That's a lot better. First gear synchro, like I mentioned, is completely gone in this thing. I'll be curious to run the check engine light and figure out what that is. So here is the underside of the beater E46. Definitely not as nice as that M3, but not as terrible as I anticipated. I'm guessing that those springs are shattered? No. Interesting. Xenon level sender, which may or may not be working. The U-joint on this drive shaft sounded not great. And honestly, it felt like it had a clutch delay valve, but it doesn't. Not sure what all this moisture is. Anyway, yeah, this transmission is dead. Looks like the Guibo has seen better days, but obviously not nearly as bad as that M3 was. Definitely some leakage up here. Oil filter housing gasket is gone. But that looks like about it for oil leaks. It's really not too bad. I don't see any cooling system leaks. Radiator is definitely new. Spectra, mediocre quality. It has a Luke LF30 power steering, so that's good. And it really felt like it had a bad... Oh, it's not the wheel bearing. That brake caliper's sticking. I'll have to look into that potentially. Plan is to throw coilovers on this car, and then whatever else it needs in the meantime to make it nice and solid. Honestly, it's pretty good. Can't complain. Looks like oil filter housing gasket though. Wow, that's really bad. That's been leaking for quite some time. Very, very common problem on these cars. This thing is 190K, so if that's never been done, it is way overdue. But yeah, needs a trans too. I get these soaking in PB Blaster now, so I don't strip them completely out. They're not looking good. So, I need to go to a dinner with some friends this evening, and although the Tesla is packed and ready for this event, I feel like since the roads are pretty much free of salt at this point, I should take something more interesting. The last time I tried to take this car, there was an ice berm out back. I just checked, before I moved the 1 Series out from underneath this car, that it is gone. So, I'm actually going to unhook the charger from this car, fire it up, get it outside, give it a quick rinse, and before I go, I think I'm actually going to try to hook it up to the old ADS laptop and see if I can figure out which wheel speed sensor is giving me problems, because the ASC, active stability control, does not work on this car right now, and I don't know why. Them one-handed skills. Confidence. This car never lets me down. All good. Still plenty of snow out here, but at least I can pack up the lift. Well, the tires need a little bit of a top up, so just closing up the other garage here. Go get my stuff and hit the road. I don't have time to diagnose those lights right now, unfortunately. And I think I'll need a power inverter because I think my old ADS laptop has a shot battery, unfortunately. Remember back in the good old days when you could just buy the inserts from the wiper blades for BMWs? I do. Those are inserts for the Z8. These, the first time I drove it, they looked a little bit on the worn out side. So, looks like I'm gonna have to, I don't even know, just be really careful, I guess. I don't think I can lift those up properly with the hood in place, and I certainly don't want to scratch it. Ooh, additionally, oh no, brand new. I've got the new keys for the Z8. So those finally showed up. That's pretty cool. Yeah, I'm gonna do up these inserts real quick. Then maybe work on that a bit. If you've never seen one of these before, you can look at the end of the insert that actually has a stop. And that's where the little metal pieces go. And these have actually been replaced before. So these little teeth should actually, should be the other way around. So this one should be on that side, actually anchored into the rubber there. And then just slide those into the new insert, and I'll show you what that looks like. These actually aren't in terrible shape. They were just installed wrong. I was wrong, actually. There's a second set of jaws on the other side I was thinking of. So these need to be pushed all the way through and actually snap in. And yeah, there you go. The inserts I was shipped are actually a little on the long side, so I had to cut them down with a razor blade. But brand new insert, looking good. Nice and cheap. Good. Much, much better. Now for this POS, I do feel like that caliper is definitely dragging. But first things first, summer wheels, which hopefully I've got some black paint or something to touch up the curb rash. They're not my style, but you know, somebody's gonna like them, and the tires are new, so that's good. Tail lights, that's gonna be first order of business. I like the stock taillights on these, but these don't work. So, pretty simple process. Really just have to pull out this entire skin. I've got to pull the, what do you call those things? Just a trunk lining, I guess. Look at this rash. Oof, gross. We know this taillight backing plate is bad. I've got a set of aftermarket LED units that I actually had on an old E46 that I used to have. So those are going on here. I'm going to lube up that door handle just a little bit. There's the taillights. These are like the factory look LED taillights. They're actually really nice. They're error free. And then I've got a set of coilovers in here. These are also going on this car. You might have noticed the transmission in the trunk. That also is going in this car. It's a Getrag 250, and yikes, that's a lot of ATF, if that's actually ATF. I wonder if this car has a cooling system problem with all this coolant in it. Anyway, the first gear synchro is gone, completely gone on this transmission. So it's like driving an old pre-G60 or whatever Porsche 911. And in addition to that, the second gear synchro is quite bad. So I've got a bunch of spares. They're notoriously weak transmissions, so I stock up on them. And yeah, I have ballasts with me, but it turns out I won't need those. But this is just such a nice car. Sport package, black and black E46 with pretty minimal rust. Somebody's going to enjoy this. So this is a car that I bought with the intention of fixing a lot of stuff on and selling on. And just like that, empty. Much, much better. I'll take it. Wheels and tires off. And here we have the mega cheapo suspension, but you know, it's gonna be better than what's in there. These are max, oh, these are max peating rods again. But they have sphericals, they're double adjustable, and I think these were $200 shipped because they were a returned set. So yeah, should be much better than what's in there. I'm gonna try to make it close to factory ride height. I really don't want to lower it. Apparently, must thread those through the control arms in the back. The spring carriers don't look like a ton of fun. Oh, that's on the top? My Atlanta. I might actually have to read the instructions on that. That's kind of a weird device. In true fashion, the studs are a little on the long side, and there's no adjustment without hogging this thing out, but there they are. Guess I'll try test fitting a wheel and see how ridiculous it ends up getting. It's a little on the low side, but I guess I'll deal with it for now. So I don't fully understand the reason behind that little plate thing. I mean, I could see wanting to keep the perch in place, but it doesn't seem like it's going to go anywhere when it's got load on it, even though we have it set relatively high. So I guess we'll see. I don't know. I still have to put in the rear coilover shock, but springs in. I was able to do all that by hand with a pry bar, essentially. So I have this thing unwound all the way, basically, until it's about to fall off, and it still doesn't reach, with the spring really compressed at pretty much ride height. So I'm going to let this out real slow, and I am going to find some different shocks to put in this car, because I'm unbelievably sketched out by these. And I think I'll be close enough to a regular ride height where I won't run into ride issues or any bottoming out. I'm so sketched out. I mean, full compression on the stock is pretty much full droop on this piece of junk. So the rear actually sits pretty much perfect. The front needs to go, we'll say, a half an inch. The tires are both completely flat, which is not great news. It would be okay as is, but I think a half inch up in the front. And we'll be looking a bunch better. See, I want to see. I can't even tell, but it doesn't look like that would work.